Well, so far so good, but that was a lot to take in. Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Percy Jackson and the Olympians Season 2, Episode 4. A lot happens in this episode, and while there are some weird choices, for the most part this episode stayed true to the book about as well as Episode 3. Hopefully you all know the drill at this point, so let's get to it. We start with Annabeth going to a hideout she used to when she was with Luke and Thalia, and we see a friendship bracelet she apparently had back then. We don't see the actual monster donut location, nor do we see the Hydra like in the book, but we do get a cool nod to it via some snacks that are apparently from it. In the flashback, we see that Grover found them in this hideout, and after almost killing him, Thalia hears him out. Back on the beach, we get a moment where Tyson apparently heard Annabeth say something about Percy being dangerous, and he doesn't like it. Percy sits down with him in a beautiful brotherly shot, and tells Tyson how prophecies have a way of subverting expectations. This and the previous scene were different from what happened in the book, but they characterize this book's main trio in a way that stays true to the book, while the events are only slightly different. Though next up we have the only scene that felt weird to me, like the worst parts of Season 1. Clarice shows up and demands the true coordinates. She even hits Percy with the line about how his father isn't the only god with sea power. Annabeth tries to convince Clarice to take them along, but Clarice has undead warriors that can handle each of their specialties. So Percy challenges her to a one-on-one just like Ares. They fight for a bit, but then Annabeth kills the soldiers Clarice said would work in their places, thus forcing Clarice to take them along, since no one else can work the ship's engine. This was a bit awkward to me. Granted, they were already dead, as Annabeth points out, but Clarice had really grown to care about them, and the gravity of Annabeth just casting them aside isn't really addressed later. So this moment felt a bit awkward. The episode does have some good action later on, so I'm not disappointed by this moment like I was with the Ares fight. But to me, it did feel a bit callous. Next scene, unlike in the book, where you had to sail between Scylla and Charybdis, reveals that here, you have to make a choice between the two. Annabeth wants to choose Scylla, which is the safer path, and it will only kill 6 of the crew, but Clarice wants to take her chances with Charybdis, since she doesn't want to sacrifice anyone, and she thinks she can kill the monster. Oh, and Percy can't pronounce the name, despite hearing it spoken multiple times. I'm guessing that's his dyslexia. We get another flashback with Grover, where he shows Luke, Thalia, and Annabeth the rune of Pan in a sanctuary. Thalia doesn't want anything to do with her father's world, so she does not want to go to camp. Apparently she has come to resent him just like Luke resents his father. Then Annabeth realizes she lost the bracelet, and returning to the present, she tries to throw it into the sea, but then it gets tossed back on the deck in Moana-esque fashion. Moving over to Percy and Tyson, Percy realizes that he knows the exact coordinates and speed of their ship. Nice that this power was included here, even though it doesn't come up that often in the books. Then when Annabeth asks how the bracelet is back on the ship, Tyson explains he was playing with Rainbow. So, he wasn't cut from the show, and we even get to see him. Returning to the flashback, Annabeth is almost killed by 3 Cyclopses when she went back for the bracelet, which I guess explains why she resents it so much in the present. Thalia shows up, and we get to see her channeling her powers along with the Aegis. After saving Annabeth from the Cyclopses, Thalia finally admits that life out in the open is too dangerous for Annabeth, and it's okay for her to go to camp. Unfortunately, Thalia is killed by the Furies shortly thereafter, which makes sense since Hades was angry that his brother broke the oath of the Big Three in the books. Annabeth in the present was really affected by this and wants to use her skill, that being her wit, to think 6 steps ahead and save everyone. But she doesn't think that she can. I really like this. Annabeth's vulnerability was something that I felt wasn't touched on all that much in Season 1, even after Luke was revealed to be the traitor. But in this season, I really like how it has been portrayed thus far. Percy then gives her some encouragement, saying he has a pretty good track record of surviving impossible odds, and he ends it with, "Let's go do the impossible." Clarice finally announces that she will choose Scylla, and she teases the next few encounters leading up to the Golden Fleece. Choice with the 2 big monsters, Will with the Sirens, and finally, Polyphemus. Percy talks to her in private about their relationships with their parents. Clarice doesn't go home to her mom apparently, so she has to succeed on this quest. Percy gives her a vote of confidence, and Clarice returns his goodwill by revealing her prophecy, which doesn't deter him. She just has to admit that she can't do this alone. They arrive, and things start off going as planned, but then Clarice breaks under pressure and tries to go kill Charybdis anyway. Percy and Annabeth then think of a plan to help escape the whirlpool, and Percy has to call upon Tyson in the engine room for more power. Then Annabeth almost falls off the deck, and she's saved by Clarice. I really like this moment since it gives Clarice a bit more depth, showing that despite her rough exterior and insistence that she isn't their friend, she isn't heartless. Unfortunately, the wind thermos and the engine room blowing up destroys the ship, in a really dramatic and impactful scene. Again, not exactly like it went down in the book, but the end result is the same. This isn't like all the weird choices that required shifting around the story structure, like the massive alterations to the Medusa encounter, or the addition of the Hera chair, or the changes to the Lotus Hotel, or missing the deadline in Season 1. There are changes, yes, but they don't shake things up nearly as much. I remember the behind the scenes for Season 1. They said they wanted to make the show a faithful adaptation, while also not being a one-to-one recreation of the book, so there would still be something in it for fans who read them all. And as a fan who has read them all, I'd say Season 2 strikes that balance very well. In the preview of the next episode, we see Percy and Annabeth at Cece's spa and resort. She even shows them the Siren's lair via a telescope. We also see Percy and Annabeth in full spa getup, saying that no one at camp needs to know about what happened. I'm guessing Percy is embarrassed because of the guinea pig issue, but Annabeth seems shaken by the chaos as well. Then we see that this episode also has them going to the lair of the Sirens. I'll be interested to see how they handle 2 encounters in one episode. Maybe the majority of the episode will be Cece, and then we'll get a cliffhanger ending when they reach the Sirens. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Kylan Mythos, and I'll see you all next time.